Quick sound check. Thank you. Good morning, Delphine. Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, June 10th, 2026. New day, fresh start. Welcome to Pitbull Traders Morning Game Plan. I'm your host, Manny. Purpose of this show is simple: live futures trading, real-time technical analysis, and actionable trade setups. All with a focus on building real trading skills and the mindset designed to drive consistent profitability. Every morning we come in with the same goal: to build out the structure before the open so that we're operating in alignment with the day's dominant forces. Not guessing, not chasing. All right, team, let's map it out. CPI numbers just came out. Let's take a look here. Let me get my pen. And we're going to start off as we do every morning. We're going to start off with a higher time frame analysis and build out the structure and see where we are going to position ourselves, whether it's bullish or bearish on the day. Start off with the higher time frame. Drag our pen in here. And so obviously we're in the midst of a pullback correction of the rally that started on March 30th from the 63.53 low. And thus far, the ES has pulled back about 6%. Okay, that's a pretty serious decline in terms of speed, right? And one thing, the reason why I'm stating that is because what we need to be mindful as day traders is about the velocity of this market. Moves are happening really fast, and that matters when it comes down to risk management. Okay, we want to make sure that we are taking trades that make sense, but also at the same time making sure that we survive to trade another day. All right, so let's build out the higher time frame. So yesterday's strong decline, we're going to start off in our 4-hour chart on the left hand side, and we can see that yesterday's big decline off the open, right? We rallied, we traded into and above Monday's high. We did a look above and fail, and immediately came right back into the overnight range, right back into Monday's range, and took out Monday's low. All right. So that decline also filled the gap, and that gap was back from May 5th. Now that we spoke a little bit about yesterday about the measured move, the ABC type style correction, that measured move would culminate at 72.14. And the way this market is trading, team, we could be there in 2 hours. I mean, the velocity of this market has to be respected. It works both ways. And just speaking from a tactical standpoint, let's make sure that we're taking our profit when it's presented, but letting those runners run. These are times in the market where you can really pad your account and build a good balance in order to trade during the not so on the days where there's a tighter range, right? So keep that in mind. I want to let my runners run. I want to stay out of the way, and that just circles back into taking what the market is offering, right? On tighter range days, we want to be a little bit more judicious about our scales. We want to be a little bit more cautious about our risk management and moving those stops to break even. But also remember that going into today, that this market has velocity, right? So if the market is running, and I believe a lot of you saw a decent trade that I had yesterday, and stay out of the way of it. You know, let that, if you want to trail it down, use the 15-minute structure, but try to get the most out of that position that you can. Okay. This is in markets where the ranges are tighter. I want to make sure, I want to get out at those predetermined profit targets. For me, it's 5 and 10 and then 15 points, and then see if the runner can really go somewhere. But in this style of market, I want to be a little bit more flexible and manage my exits a little bit more in a dynamic fashion to make sure that I can get everything out of the trade it yields. And that goes back to, just proper risk management, right? It works the same way on the opposite side. Let it run, stay out of the way, try to control your desire to take the profit as you would in a tighter ranged market. All right, so let's build out the structure on the higher time frame. Immediately, what comes into focus is the 73,875 to 73,80 area. All right, that was this rally high that we saw. Make sure I have my extended hours on here. Okay. So that would be the top of this structure here. You can see we tested. We came into this, we tested it. It held as what was support, turned into resistance, and now we're moving lower. $73.50 to $73.60 is going to be an area that we're going to want to monitor closely today. There's a bullish above, bearish below type of environment on that level. You can see that was the low from June 7th. It's also an area that's on the market blueprint today. So just be mindful of that. 73.50. We're going to have to expand the ranges just because of the tone of the market. Okay, so 73.50 to 73.60, bullish above, bearish below. That's what we're going to monitor. If we can get above 73.50, 73.60, and the market we close above it on the smallest time frame being the 15-minute, and the market shows that it has some acceptance above it, then again we want to start looking at long trades and long ideas, or at least start stalking entries to the long side instead of having a mindset of selling rips. Okay, 73.50 to 73.60. Now that this gap is filled, we can remove this. All right. And then if we can get above 73.50 to 73.60, we want to monitor at 73.80 to 73.90. All right, let's build out the most bullish argument. Let's talk about the most bearish argument, and then we'll jump into the trap trades. All right, we're going to map out the most bullish the most bullish argument on the left, as we do every day. So we're opening at 73.50. We already know that this is an area where we want to have our attention. We want to have our focus dialed in because this is a higher time frame area. Okay, we just mapped that out on the higher time frame. So if we're opening up at 73.50, wait, hang on a second. Let me just fix this overnight high, as it is incorrect. Our overnight high is 74.91. Wait, nope, that's incorrect. $73.93. Okay. Overnight high is 73.93. We have this declining slope here. Let me just draw this out right here while I have y'all. your attention, and so you can get a little bit of an idea for the technical analysis, right? So we have this declining slope here. You know, you can see it's very visual, and we can see it very carefully there, okay? So let's just use that as kind of a visual reference for what may happen on the most bullish argument. All right, so we're opening at 73.50, 55, and the market rallies, right? Since there is no structure until the overnight high at 73.93, we have to be a little bit more creative in what we're going to use for our pullbacks and to monitor our risk. So immediately we come in, we have this trend line as well as this pivot high that was just created off the CPI number at 73.67. Okay, so we can pull back to 73.67 and rally, or we could pull back to the trend line and rally. All right, so for the most bullish argument, if price gets above and gets into this wedge, right, which is above the descending trend line and below the rally high from the CPI number, we're going to wait for closes. We're going to wait for price to demonstrate some acceptance. If we can get closes there and the price is moving quickly, we're going to look for pullbacks to the rally high from the CPI number, okay? And that's coming in at 73.67. And then we're there, or either a pullback to the trend line at 73.50 to 55, okay? This trend line will change with time, so we'll have to monitor it. Make sure you have that on your charts. But if we get that pullback and price shows acceptance, it's already showing some acceptance above this early rally high at 73.45, and you can see that it just held pullback to it. So what was resistance became support, and it held thus far. So if we can get above there and price can close, show some acceptance, and bulls are active, we have to think, okay, there's a correction of the overnight inventory underway, and we'll look for long trades that get us up to eventually to the overnight high, which is at 73.93 being the ultimate target, and then maybe even potentially a gap fill. Okay, so that maps out the most bullish argument. Let's talk about the most bearish argument. Opening up at 73.50 to 55, and price breaks, okay? And so what was resistance became support, failed. All right, so we're going to monitor this high here at 73.45. And if price can get below it, that's going to signal to us a minor or a micro structural shift, right? So what was support, what was resistance became support, but then it failed. All right. So then what we're going to do at that point is, if we get an open and we break through 73.45, we're going to look for pullbacks to either the 73.45, let's just say retracements to 73.45 for a trade lower down to the overnight low. If price does retrace higher than that, our next reference would be the trend line. Can we get to the trend line? Does the trend line hold? And does it break lower? Now remember, this market is moving very, very fast. Liquidity is thick. There, yesterday we had a relative record number on volume. So we could even get a pullback, a retracement up to test the 73.67 high. But at that point, what I would be looking for, and I think what we need to look for, is for a lower high relative to the 73.67 high. And if price does get there into this area, we're going to look for wicks. We're going to look for price to stall, to lose momentum, and then we're going to look for breaks down to the overnight low. That maps out the most bullish argument. It also maps out the most bearish argument. let's talk about some trap trades. Now that we have this structural shift in the market, right? We are below our higher time frame moving averages, and obviously the market is in a higher time frame retracement. There's no telling where this retracement might end, but we don't really need to worry ourselves that much with the higher time frame. What we need to do is just map out our conditions for the day time frame trades. So let's talk about the bullish trap trade. If price rallies off the open and we see that overnight inventory being corrected and we breach the overnight high, the overnight high is 73.93. The settlement is 74.16. Now that's a 20-point spread in which that trap trade can materialize. Either which way, what we're going to be looking for into this area is for a loss of momentum and for wicks on our 15-minute time frame. If price does that and we start putting in a lower high relative to whatever the spike high is, we're going to look for a return back into the overnight range. So if for a close, for a move back below 73.93, and that can materialize in the form of a spike and a lower high, or it could materialize as a push up, a pullback that holds against the overnight high, and maybe it materializes as a head and shoulders. Either which way, the only level that's going to matter to us is the 73.93 overnight high, because that would signal a correction of the overnight inventory is done. Okay, and now we're going to move back into the lower portion of the overnight distribution. We're going to move back into the upper portion of the overnight distribution, and the selling is going to resume. At that point, we can look for retracements up using the overnight high as our risk marker for a potential move back down to the 73.67. Or for a move down to the trend line, wherever it resides. Obviously, we're going to have the 73.47 structural reference as well. But more importantly, let's focus on the price action at the peak. Let's watch for loss of momentum. Let's watch for selling tails. Let's watch for lower highs. And then for the trigger being a resumption or return back below the overnight high at 73.93. Okay, so that maps out the bullish trap trade. Let's talk about the bearish trap trade. Opening up at 73.51 and price, immediately we have the liquidation break. We know that we have this reference here at 73.47 that on the first touch held as support. So it was resistance, then became support, and that's going to be our tell. Okay, so use that 73.45 to 73.50 band as your trigger band. Okay, if price breaks below and it closes, any retracement again that holds, we're going to look for a quick move down. Okay, once we get that quick move down, we're going to start focusing on the overnight low, which is at 73.05. The 73.05. If price breaks, and again, we see a loss of momentum. Now let's be mindful that the value area low is at 72.84. So there's a few different places where this can materialize. But if price gets below the overnight low, it loses momentum and then reclaims it. And maybe it does an inverted head and shoulders, a few different ways, but ultimately what we're going to be looking for, and the only level that's going to matter to us is 73.05 while we're using that reference, while we are above the value area low at 72.84. Okay. So if price retraces and can reclaim the overnight low at 73.05, puts in a higher low, and ultimately starts moving above whatever local high was there, we're going to look for closes. We're going to look for wicks to use as our risk marker for a potential long trade into the bearish trap trade. Okay. At that point, we're going to monitor our reference at 73.47 as well as the trend line. Let's talk about if that materializes below value area low. Same thing. We get below. Say this time it pushes a little bit lower, but is unable to test yesterday's low. We come back up, and we put in an inverted head and shoulders. Then we reclaim value area low, 72.84. We're going to look for that move higher. Okay. All right. So that maps out those potential outcomes. Here's the opening bell. Let me get a screenshot, and we'll dig into how we are going to participate. Remember, let's focus. When a market this fast, we want to react, not predict. Let's just wait for the structure to build out. Let's try to trade later in the balance area rather than earlier. It's hard to do when the market is moving that fast. You know, hindsight is always 20/20, but we'll manage it the best way we can. And I'm going to note the overnight. I'm going to note the daily open. Okay, looks like I just got that target filled, so that's nice. All right, so we opened today at 73.55. Let's use that as our bull bear line for the morning session. Now let's dig into the trading charts. I had a long trade position there, and it just hit its target, so I'm happy about that. I also had setup number 1 off the market blueprint. If any of you participated in it, fantastic. Make sure that if you're just joining us, thank you for joining the stream. I'm Manny for Pitbull Traders. We're tracking the ES right now. Every morning I put out high probability setups on my X feed. You can go find that at Manny_trends. And thus far, the market blueprint had setup number 1 was a support buy at 73.07 to 73.12. Thus far, that has been our low of the day. Good morning, Philly D. Sorry about that. All right, so you already we can see we're below that 73.47 reference. No, Jamar, nope. I am flat right now. I don't have anything on. Sitting here, sitting tight. I had a few overnight trades. I had a long. I was in setup number one. Hey, back. You can't get rid of me that fast. All right. Let's get this up. All right, here we go. Morning, Oz. How are you? Welcome to the dance. Hey, check out the market blueprint. Go check it out on the X feed. Live Action says I had some overnight oil trades. That was not fun. Yikes. I haven't traded oil, crude oil, in a very, very long time. Oz says, any chance of getting on Discord in the future? Not something that's being currently discussed right now, Oz. And you're not the first person to ask that. I understand. I'm just watching. So heads up, right? So we're testing that 73.50. We're back above it now, and it looks like we came down into that trend line discussed earlier, and it held on a pullback, right? So right here, oh no, we went dip below. That is a pretty good wick. All right, let's see what the low looks like. So our low is 73.35. That looks good to me, at least for now. Hey Oz, I am considering maybe doing something. Though after I do this live stream, either going straight to, because so I have a few traders that I'm working with, and what's happening is that I don't have enough time to meet with them privately anymore. That's becoming the main challenge. So I'm looking at maybe doing after this stream is over at around 11, moving it over to a private either YouTube page or something of that nature. We'll see. We shall see. All right, let's see. We're moving up higher here. Trade chat, it's like hosing me here. Yeah, I know. I get it, Oz. Yep, that's the big thing is that why don't you join why don't you join the pit? There's no lag there. And I'm there all day from open to I'm there. I start posting there fairly early in the morning. And I'm thinking about, and I'm there all day. I'm there past the close. I'm pretty much there all the time. Watch this area here. It looks like we're going to correct that overnight inventory. It's moving pretty aggressively. Yeah. The link is in the description. Click on the link, sign up. I'm there all day long. Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Manny. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Very good. Joining up you with a bit. Morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well this morning.
Yep. Just monitoring this wild price action we're having here.
I'm tired already.
I'm just trying to sort something out here in the background.
So as you can see, everyone, I posted a little bit of some of our commentaries in our other room, passing that along to you folks as well. All right. It is a cycle day one, and we're looking for, at this stage, a long lean for the time being. Our line in the sand for the day is 73.90, so we're working our way back there. 70s was a spot to clear for a little bit of initial sign of strength. The SOS stands for sign of strength, not help in this case. So we got our signs of strength, which means we got our long signal coming off of the 65s to the 70s. So we got about 8 or 10 handles already on that one. And still looking for a push up to retest the overnight highs. That's kind of where we are at the moment from our perspective. And he's getting serious. He turned his hat around.
No, I'm just watching here, just working on something. I don't have nothing going on. I had a very nice, I was long 73. I was long 73.12. And then I that was my core position. Then I added to the 73.15 and 73.21. And I made a few K on that. And I would just, yeah, I took it off at 30 points, the last one. And then I had another long here of 73.57 that went for 5 or 6 points. And oh no, sorry, I got 5 and 10 on that one. And then I shut it down. I haven't done anything since. It's a pretty good start to the day. I want to let the first hour play out, like, so I can get overnight inventory is going to correct, right? And the thing, like today, these markets are so frothy. Just don't want to run in there head first. I want to make sure we get a good read on the first hour, see how we want to trade this puppy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm never one to rush in. I think there was a song written by some popular guy that only fools rush in.
It's a pretty popular one.
Yeah, so I tend to be patient, let the market kind of show us where, kind of lean it where it wants to go. I don't mind if I miss pieces of it, but I want to have some good solid structure. So and then once we get some structure and looking to buy, the pullback is kind of where we like to go and how we like to do things. So there it is, retesting the 90s, right, which is our line in the sand today. So that's a good test, right? And all it is just a back test, right? There was a little bit of a gap overnight, and then just kind of back testing it. For a stronger bullish case, it would need to clear and stay above those levels, and then it go ultimately get above the 74s. But I don't think that's going to be the case early on. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a two-way auction, kind of backing and filling um, for the time being.
So heads up on the internals. The internals coming in 1.4 to 1 positive on the NYSE, 1.8 to 1, 1.8 to 1 positive on the NASDAQ. Yesterday, we had a pretty good read in that, and I'm not sure I got to elaborate on as much as I'd like to, but we thought we opened up with those ticks really high, and as price was grinding higher, and we had that big rip higher, the ticks were just putting a lower high after lower high after lower high. And so I think it's important that we understand what that really can mean, right? Because that would be that's often the case, like when that's a divergence, and when the divergence in the tick is, on a 1 minute time frame, I give it less priority than a divergence that materializes over the course of half an hour, 40 minutes. So that's meaningful, because that signaled to me, and I jotted it down in my notes, and we were just moving so fast I forgot to mention it. But that type of divergence was, what it's telling us is that the rally was just pure short covering. There wasn't any underlying buying in stocks, and ultimately what drives the S&P. So it was futures covering. It wasn't really underlying strength, and thus we saw what happened once we breached over Monday's highs. We looked above, and we knocked on the door up there. Nobody was home. Nobody was home. So I'm wondering if we're going to have somewhat of the same type of scenario here today. And that's why I really want to let this, look at it. It's already it's already 7 minutes to 10. So let's see how this plays out. Is this going to be the same thing as yesterday, where we have an opening rally and it leads to just a larger sell? I don't know. All right, moving higher here. Moving higher into, let's see if we can get the test of 73.93, the overnight high. Failure to even test it would be a strong signal. At that point, right, what I'm looking for is a move back below 73.67. But let's monitor that level there at 73. Let's just keep an eye on. I don't want to jump. When the market gets this close, it tends to satisfy those areas. Is David still with us?
Yeah, Manny, I'm still here. I'm still here. I just posted up my charts. Okay.
All right, here we go. Looks like I really think we're, the market loves to, like, move up into these areas, right? It really likes to satisfy areas, I should say. And the way I've learned that is I used to see moves like this trade up into almost tag, like I'm waiting for it to hit a certain level, and then I like, oh no, pull back. Maybe I missed it. And I jump in, and then suddenly, only a few minutes later, watch the market really satisfy that area. So a bit of patience there serves us well.
All right, you got your ears on, Manny. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we took the A10 long, as you can see on our charts, top left. We're just managing that out right now. We had discussed earlier that the 70s would be key. We got our test of the 90s, which is our line in the sand. First rejection back to the 70s, and that needed to hold. Of course, it has. So that's kind of that's the rotation we're looking at forward. So far, that's good. So far, so good. So that back test to the 70s picked off our A10 long. We'll go with that. We'll accept that.
Let's see what happens once we get there to the overnight high. Let's see where we at with this thing. Okay. 73.92. Yeah. 73.92. Hey, heads up. Let's keep an eye on if we break above. So keep an eye out for setup number 6 on the market blueprint. That's where my focus is shifting to. So I have a valid setup there into a time-based pivot. So I'm looking for a look above and fail, following the same structure that we outlined in the pre-market. Give it another, it's 9:58. Just wait to see what happens once we get up there. It may pull back a little bit stronger from here. Let's see. It went up there and tested that wick at 87s and pulled back. It may just be building momentum. The Russell is broken out. NASDAQ is kind of in the same state.
All right, our stop trail was elected there on the A10, so we're currently flat on that trade. Very nice.
Good job, David.
All right, so now we'll just be monitoring for the next kind of opportunity. Still looking at perhaps the 65-70 zone to hold. If that gives away, again, we'll probably back down to the 50s, which is your high volume point of control area. But we'll see. So right now, the structure, the way at least we're anticipating it so far, is playing out nicely. And you're looking for short, where did you say? Up at the 90, a little bit above the 90s?
Let's see, let me make sure I nail the level right. It is 73.92 to 73.96 or 95 in that area. So right around the overnight high.
All right, so you look for a look above
73.93.
fail reversal, right?
Right. Let's see if that materializes. You can see we're stalling out already, right? So I like it because obviously there's some price action here. The market, I love, like, so let's just talk about this, right? So say there's some sellers in this area. Apparently there are, because the market has not traded through it. And we all know how much the ES loves to trap. So if it breaks above, traps those sellers, stops them out, but there is no one else there buying it, then that setup should materialize, and we know it was just a stop run. Then we get to participate in that stop run like the market makers are doing themselves. So let's just keep an eye on it. Hopefully it does materialize, and if not, no harm, no foul. We'll just move to the next setup. We got as high as 73.90. Coming back up again. Coming back up to test that wick on the 5-minute. Let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame and see what that looks like. Yeah. Okay. So we're testing into that 15-minute wick. I took a scalp long into that area in 44.78. Looking for the fill at 93s. See if I can get it. Got it. Plus 73. So plus 17 on that one. Wait, what was it? It was 75. Yeah, plus 15. Thanks. Good job, J Mark. Good job. I'm glad you caught it. Hey, so heads up. I just bought that little pullback here off screen with 75s to look, we just went up there, tested it, and failed. Gosh, I hope I didn't miss the better short for scalping the long, but whatever. It's gonna happen. And at some point, I think a good thing to discuss today is just risk management, right? At certain point, I'm going to pivot to micros. Yeah. Oh, yep. I might test something here. Let's see. we did really satisfy the area for me at least. We one ticked over the overnight high. 13 contracts came off. Everybody got trapped. I'm gonna sell a couple of micros here just in case. I'm not filled yet. I'm just gonna stalk the order flow, see if I can get a nice favorable pop. I also don't want to have an idea and rush into it. Let's get a lay of the land first. Yeah, you see, this is. I'm glad this is why it's better to just sit tight and wait it out. Something always materializes. It will. Oh, look at that. Yep. Back up here into those highs. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I sold a few at 88. And I'm willing to take them off right on the other side. I'm willing to take them off right on the other side of 94. I'm not going to sit in these. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We one tick the overnight high, right? I mean, that's a signal. We were struggling here. They popped the stops. Let's see what the intention is. What I don't like is this little notch, yesterday's rally high at 98. It may want to go there and do it from there. Do you see that? 98 half is that rally high from yesterday's closing trade. But let's see what shakes out. We'll see. We'll monitor it. I have one eye on my. It seems like for some reason trade chat is just really, really taxing my PC this morning, like unusually heavy. See, David just lost his chart, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Hang tight, guys. Yep. So I'm out of those. Heads up. I had my stop just above that high. And I sold 2 micros, guys, so whatever. It's not the end of the world. We might need to satisfy it by testing this 98 half, right? Sweep these guys out of their positions, sweep them, and then maybe we get the move down, or maybe not. Maybe we just rip, right? Maybe it's a continuation long above the overnight high. We have to consider that as well. Remember, these, the market loves these, even in downtrends. I mean, it could be explosive. I've done really well in downtrends, trading only from the long side. Did we lose David? Lost charts and audio. Yep, looks like we lost David again.
Am I back now, Manny?
Oh yeah, you're back.
Am I back now?
Yeah.
I am. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. I lost charts and audio. A little buggy. I'll try to put my charts up again. Well, we could just leave yours up if you'd like.
Whatever you. Yeah, I just. I don't know what's going on with Trade Chat today. It's hosing my PC. It's just like really taxing my processor. And you just crashed, right? I don't know if that's something going on in the background. I'll have to talk to Marlon about it later. See if something changed, but it typically doesn't run this heavy.
How does the pit crew, you guys, what do you guys prefer? Right? They have one set to chart up like Manny's, or when we have guests like myself or Bo, or what do you guys? Give us your opinion. What works for you guys? That's really what's really key. What we're trying to show is what we're doing and how we're doing things, but it all comes down to you're the audience, you're the recipient. Give us some feedback when it comes to that. Okay, Paulo, like toggle back. Yeah, the screens are small when we have it up, and you have to. So if you want to zoom in on either of ours, you know how to do that. So you want the options of having. Okay, great. All right. I mean, it's important for us to know that.
Yeah. Good point.
We have our ideas of presentation, but again, if the audience and you guys are the audience, right? If you the recipients, are not getting the benefit of them, how we're intending, then we need to make the adjustments, not you. But just so your feedback is crucial. Right? Zooming isn't great, but clicking on your screens works well. Okay, guys, yelling it. Okay, multiple time frames. All right, good. All right, good. All right, I'll work on. I'll put mine back up as well. Give me a second.
What time was that stop out? So that stop out for me was at 10:10. I'm tempted to try them again, but I don't want to overtrade this one area.
All right, there it is on mine.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty choppy. See, look at this. Yeah. I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm glad I set that one out. It looks like the pops are coming on the upside today.
All right, chart looks good. All right, thank you, Paul.
Oh, look at that. All right. I just sold some 93s. No, 92.75. Something here. Like my stop is just above the high. I sold, and just to be in full transparency, I sold 2 micros. I'll add to them.
I won't get you away, Manny, on the short.
I just added a few more at 90. Let's see. I've got. All right, so I'm in this now. My average is now 73.90. Okay. Yep. So I'm up to 10 now. But look how I'm hesitant here because my PC is running really laggy. When I look at it, it's pretty much trade chat, which is odd because it never runs like this. All right, we're going to move away now from those highs at 73.90. Yep. Thank you, J Mark. Yep. 73.90s. So looking for a move down lower. Let's see what happens. They're micros, so I'm willing to sit them out. I manage micros differently, and they're almost like a risk control asset for me. While I'm in these micros, I'm busy with that. I'm not really paying attention to much else. But I am going to bid, let's see, 70s. Let's be judicious about it. And I'm going to manage them, more dynamically. And what I mean by dynamically is like if I spot something in the flow, um, I'll just click close. Let's see. The Russell's consolidating at highs. So is the Nasdaq. So it's not look that doesn't bode well for shorts, to be honest with you. I think I might get swept here of these 98s. We'll see. So it's definitely a valid trade for me though, right? Because on the blueprint, I have it that this would be setup number 6. So yeah, we'll see. The market is definitely in a retracement, right? And I'm expecting lower prices, and that's not those of you who've been trading around me for a while know that I can be I'm rarely bearish. I don't trade it well from that side. That's one thing about sells though, right? They come fast. Like you have to be positioned in them and then wait for that explosive move, because if you try to get in as it's happening, you can get hurt. That's funny. Yeah, I saw your hey, heads up. I saw your WhatsApp message. I'll get back to you. This is an interesting spot here, right? Because we are consolidating at highs. That's more bearish. That's more bullish than bearish. We're right but we want to tick the overnight high. It's there are conflicting signals for sure. this is where you just, speaking about in context of this trade, right? So, I mean, this is in when I was trading my, personal account. Good morning, Slatitude. By chance, is Danny scheduled to give a presentation today at noon? Yes, she is. Heads up, everyone. So today at noon, Danny will be on for Markets and Mindset, becoming a favorite segment every week. And she will be on from noon to 1 with her segment. So heads up, if you're just joining us, Manny from Pitbull Traders, we're tracking the ES. One of our scenarios where the price would go up, test the overnight high at 73.93. And one of our scenarios was a bullish trap trade in which price looks above this 73.93 and then comes back into the overnight range for a short scalp trade lower. And that's the trade that I am in personally right now. And a programming note is that Danny is part of the Pitbull Traders team here, and she will be on today at 12 o'clock for Markets and Mindset. And Danny's a really good trader coach, and she discusses mindset and the mental approach to trading. Okay, so really, if your mindset sometimes tends to wane on you, I think that checking out Danny's show is a value add. I know that it's becoming my favorite thing to do on Wednesdays is just maybe grab something to eat and listen to what Danny has to offer. So check it out. Yep. Yep, you're welcome. De nada. Yeah, we're hanging out here at highs. Yep, no need to sit in that for very much longer. I took it off at like 96s. Breaching that level. Man, this thing is running really slow. So good out for me there. I like being out of that one. They swept the 98s. See if they come back into range below 93. Thanks, Renee. Take a look at the higher time frame. Is is David still? David, did David leave us?
No, sir, I'm still here.
Okay.
I didn't want to get in your way on your short, but what I was just saying briefly with the folks over here is, when price reaches, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So when price reaches a level like those 90s, 92, 95 zones you're looking at, and this goes for any level, not just your level today, but any level. Kind of the idea structurally is they probe, they try to break it through, and again you'll have this battle between the longs and the shorts, and typically you get a rejection from some key levels initially. And what I like to do is, measure like what's that rejection. It's like a real rejection is reject it and slam it hard. But we're not getting those rhythms today that we've had. So it seems as though like they are responding at those areas, but they're not getting the follow through, the shorts that is, to the downside. And what happens is that starts trapping shorts, right? If they're not getting, enough of a down where they can, begin to take some off and get risk free. And it's just kind of like that's kind of pushing that beach ball underneath the water, and it's just not going. It's not staying down. It keeps popping back up. So at some point, the sellers just say, "Screw it," like you did. You gave it up. You say, "Okay, this is not happening." It was a good read for you. Hey, this is not happening. Okay, I'm out. Right? Because the expectation is, you're short. You want to have a decent response. This goes for longs or whatever. For any time at a key level, and they end up, you know, um, squeezing out some of the shorts just on a little bit of a stop run. So now it's almost like, now the sellers probably, now this will probably come down deeper, because now they squeezed out some folks, and it's always that battle at whatever zone. I'm always paying it close attention. I didn't play that. I was rooting for you, but
Yeah, no, I when they came back, so I think I had 90s. When they came back in and got it like above, we started getting up into that wick 90. I think I forgot what the average I had was, but I think it was 90. I had 90 average. Once it came back above 94, 95, I just closed it. It was like, all right, I see what's going to happen here. They're just going to push it, and there's no way to get in on that trade. And I mean, of course, well, I shouldn't say no way, but there's with most trading ideas, it's really difficult to participate in the idea and not pay something for it. And the way we have to look at that is look like we're just paying for information, right? So I had to, if it was going to break, I wanted to be in it. I paid, I don't know, a couple of points. This is why I'm not in minis, because I'm not thrilled about the idea, but I want to see it. I want to test it out. And if you think about it, right, and it's an asymmetric opportunity where we are on the higher time frame and where we could potentially go. If it's worth it. And so this is the way I like to use the micros is we could probably look above this yesterday's afternoon rally high, pull back in and let me just expand this out a little bit, right? So this is just, I'm gonna try and let me just zoom that out. So just framing that out, right? So this is yesterday's rally high. So are we doing if we're looking above and then we come back in, right? Then where's my target? My target is down here somewhere, right? So I like that for micro trades, right? That's a good micro position for me because I can just hold this all day. And so yeah, so sometimes you have to pay up a little bit, but it's fine. I'm not. That's not a trade that I feel like like so for instance, now we're breaking lower. I did add some back some 94s, but that was while I was talking. Anyhow, like so for the support buy that I had down like at the lows on the blueprint from this morning, down here, that's a position, right, that I went in with 3 and then I added 3 more as it was moving for me because I like this. I know my work and I trust those setups. And another setup that I treat like that is the continuation long. I'll probe it and then I will I'll try some long and then I will add to it as it starts working out. If it starts working out.
I am a huge fan of probing because I mean, you could wait for your ideal setup, but if it's at a particular area, probe one or micros or whatever your contract size is, but probe it. And I always know that I'm never going to get that high or low tick. I'm always going to take some level of heat, right? In order to pay to see if that area is valid enough. But it's always good to if you're probing with small relative risk, it keeps you in the game. Like you could be kind of in the bleachers, in the stands, watching the game, or you want to be on the field, playing the game. What is it that you want to be? I always want to be on the field, even if I get kicked around a lot occasionally, but I want to be on the field. So having a scout on the field there probing, you also, I think, get a better feel because you're involved in it as opposed to just watching.
Agreed. I tend to focus a little bit better if I'm in something. Yeah, look at the NASDAQ and the Russell. They're just moving out. I'm out of these again. Break even on that. I had 94s. I got out at 93. And I'm largely just executing these trades largely just I'm pretty much done for the I've hit pretty much targets that I've wanted to hit for the day, but I also want to add some value to people who may not have traded in the overnight session. Does that make sense? All right. So taking a look at the internals, we got, hey, all the indexes are just consolidating at highs here. So let's see if we can get, now that we have the first hour behind us, I'm looking towards that 11 o'clock low time frame to see if I can execute along from wherever the structure might dictate. But I'm not convinced that this is breaking higher, just because of what we've seen over the last few days, and also because of what my work tells me about the area that we are. So if you look at the market blueprint, this area that we are was an area that the market overextended. So I want to see it prove it. Let's break above 7,400, convert it, maybe trade up to 7,415, 7,420, and then let's pull back. And I don't mind paying up at that point, right? I don't need to get in at 7,400. What I want to do is make sure that this downtrend is proving it. And thus far, yeah, we've rallied, but this can be just an overnight inventory correction, and that's now consolidating at highs. And we saw how quickly the break came yesterday, right? So thus far, I'm like, as I said, I'm not convinced. I want to see it get over. I don't want to get trapped here getting a long into an area when the market looks like it's baiting longs up here. Prove it. Go up. Trade up to 74.15, 74.20. Give me a pullback to 75 to 74.05, 74.10. I'll participate in that. If not, I'm still thinking short. Still thinking short side, especially into the AM high. If we do get, for me to participate in a long, and this is good. Hey, if you're just joining us on Manny Trends, I'm with Pitbull Traders, and we're tracking the ES right now. So let's just frame out what I would be looking for in order to change my argument and start getting me on to the buyer side, right? So we're in this downtrend, and my overall approach has switched from buying dips to selling rips. Now, that doesn't mean I won't get long. That means is I want deep longs. I want longs from deep supports that I've identified in the pre-market, right? So that's why I had the 7,300 long from this morning. Okay, so now in order for me to get long, what I'm looking for is something like this, right? Where price breaks up, gets above the settlement, right? 74.15, 74.20. Then give me a pullback into this zone, whatever structure forms here. That's what I'm looking for, right? And then I'll execute that long from either one of these levels. I can look long. And all that requires to get a decent trade off in that area is for me to be patient, let the market show its intentions. But until then, this looks like, so this is what we've had: lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. That's a downtrend, but it's a downtrend within the context of a larger uptrend. I am a day time frame trader. This is where the rubber meets the road for me, on the 4-hour time frame and the 15-minute time frame. Okay, so thus far it is, look, and what we discussed earlier in the pre-market, right? What we are going to be looking for is we were going to be looking for price to struggle, to lose momentum, and to start wicking. So we have the early signs of that. So we know what we want to see to get short, right? Let's get below. Let's break some structure. We already tried it from the extreme high point. And if you want to probe it from this area, from 90 to 90, 98, 95 to 7,400, manage your risk. That's the extreme point for the asymmetric opportunity, because then you know that your first target is the 73.47, and then 73.6. Let's see, 73.67, and then the open at 73.55. Let it prove it though. I'm fine with sitting this one out and waiting for it to kind of prove itself. So if we, so let's say that we do something like, I'm just gonna zoom into a 5 minute, right? Like these are the, see, we just retested the overnight high. Should have sold. Like if I really wanted to try it again, I don't want to try it again, not just yet, anyhow. But that's, you know, that 73.93, and then, you know, you're risking, I don't know, 6 or 7. But, you know, how many times are you going to try it before you just stand aside and wait for a better opportunity? And that's what I'm thinking. I'd rather just sit it out. I don't have to trade every turn. Just need one good one. $73.93 is the overnight high. Maybe try someone again on a little pop. If we get a lower, if we get down into these wicks, we got to get below 73.75, and then see whatever this high is over here. Maybe do something like that.
Rhythms certainly have changed. Yeah, I'm talking in the
I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, guys. I'll be right back. Nice break. You finally broke, huh? Look at that. Oh man. Looks like the Intrader's frozen on me again. He's not functioning well today. Yep, and it broke. It gave it up. Gave up the goose. I think David left us again. I'm just gonna this is weird. This is just yeah. Hang on a second. All right, moving lower here from that spot up at 73.90s. My machine is just running so laggy right now, team. I'm not sure what is happening with trade chat, but it's, anyhow. So we broke below we broke below our 73.70 micro time frame structure. Now price is moving down lower. See what happens down here. Come on. Yeah, you see how laggy this is? gonna have to sort this out offline, but it's just Ninja Trader's not. I'm gonna have to relaunch Ninja Trader. I'm going. Let's see. Switch this from here and go back. Going to kill this. I'm going to see if I can clear up the lag issue. Just bear with me, guys. Things might get a little bit wonky for a moment. All right, I hope that wasn't too bad. Just trying to get my CPU to, let's see if that helped. Man, I was running so laggy there for a second. Nah, it helped a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I couldn't update you as to what was happening here, but this, yeah, it might, but I don't think it's that. Like there was, I know David's having some issues also. So thanks for bearing with us today. Hey, so all right, let's just get back to the tape now. It seems like it's a little bit better, but I'm gonna try to do the best that I can here. Just trying to identify what was hosing it. Anyhow, moving back to the live market. Okay, that area held. We went up 74.05. I had ended up selling some micros up there while David was in the middle of his statement or something of that nature. Don't remember exactly when. And we're coming down into a lower target. Since I have good position on it, I haven't taken any profit yet, but it's only a handful of micros. It's not many. It's not like I'm over positioned on it, but I'm going to start. I'm going to take one. I think it's 30 points in it now. Yeah, 35 points. I'm going to take some of it off. Just ring the register. All right. There we go. I took one off. I want to see if I can capture the asymmetric though with the team. right? So what I outlined earlier, right? Okay, here we are. We're at that trend line right now. So this is do or die time. We're testing the open. This could get a little wonky here. I'm just not going to think about it. I'm going to go ahead and take some more profit at 35 points. Just take some more off. I had 9 total. I'm taking 2 off down here. I'm going to go ahead and position myself down to 6. 6 micro short. Let's see if I can run the distance with these. I think that selling comes in threes. I think we can have a larger move lower. At minimum, I'm looking for a move down below. So we trap shorts. This is the opportunity I was speaking about in the pre-market. Okay, I think it's really important. Hope everybody's dialing in and getting and listening into it. Because when we outlined it this morning, let's see. All right. So here, let me just give you a screenshot of what that was. So here's what we said this morning on the prep. Okay, this was our bullish trap trade, right? So we were looking for, let me just, 43 points now. This is nice. It's moving nice. It's moving nice. So we were looking for a formation like this, right? Where we went up, we tested, and that's pretty much what we got, right? So we went up, we tested, made a higher high, came back down, made a lower high, and then now we're breaking lower. All right, it's hard. So just to outline it real quick, if you're in a trade, manage it. But this would be the first high. This would be the second high. This would be the lower high. Does that make sense, team? Does that make sense, guys? I hope it does. And I tried, and in full disclosure, you guys saw I had to try it multiple times. But I wasn't. We also framed out what we needed to see to get long, right? I needed it to get in order for me to get long, I needed it to prove it. I wasn't going to just buy this up here. I need to get up here. I need to test the settlement. I need to pull back, and then I'm going to take something like that from any one of these areas. But at that point, the trade becomes easy because we already know the market's intention. Up until then, the intention was with a sweep of these highs, with a sweep of yesterday afternoon's rally high, and then we started closing right below it. So just a real-time read for you guys. I hope you guys are catching some of it. Let's see if David's back online now. Yep. Okay. All right. So we got a little bit lower. I need to go ahead and fan out some profit takes down here for sure. 38. I have 88. So I'm going to see if I can get lucky and get an 88 fill for 60 points. Again, remember, these are micros, and it took me it took me a few shots to nail it.
All right, Manny, can you hear me now, please?
Yep.
I have been having audio issues all morning. Yeah.
All right, so we're moving lower here. See, I'm gonna take another one off here, just because we're hanging around now. We're starting to wick. I do expect us to move lower for another half an hour or so. If you were flat and you're looking for a trade now, right? Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's see if we can get pull-ups up to VWAP and up to 73.60 to 65. We're coming up into that area now. 73.61. I think that's a solid opportunity. Let me just see if I can get the, yep. Okay, looks like, let me just make sure that I have this right. I've got a decent average on it, so I'm tempted to just see if I can get a little bit more on it. I don't know. I also don't want to be I also don't want to be greedy. You know, it's that greed monster comes fast and quick. Wait a minute, what was the setting on this? Make sure that I'm not completely inundated with the one position. So let me just check that offline, make sure that this is right. Okay, it was not. Go ahead and move that to this. Move that to this. All right. Yep, thanks, Jay Mark. Yep, he points out that it's a 1030 high. It took a bit to form, right? I had that feeling, you know, I didn't want to. So here's the thing. I don't want, I don't want other people to get chopped up, but you see that I was not trying to execute something like that in the mini. It was too, first of all, the tape is too volatile. The ranges are expanded. If you guys are trading evaluation accounts, if you guys are trading prop accounts, if you guys are trading funded accounts, that's the quickest way to blow up your funded account. That's the quickest way to fail in evaluation, is by trying to overtrade this area with too big of a size in the mini, right? Use those micros to your advantage. But we are getting that move lower here. We're getting some of that move lower here, which is nice to see. Let's see. Nope, we want to go for this. Go short only. Yep. All right. All right. Is David, are you still with us? Is David? I thought he popped in.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still here.
All right. So here, let's see if we can breach that notch at 73.35. And let me just look at our developing profile. So we're only at 769.5 points of range for the day. But if are show of hands, how many of you all are use a profile chart, a TPO profile chart? It's live action. Do you guys use a TPO chart? Okay, Rockin' Rufus, appreciate it. Yep. I'm glad you're getting something out of it. Yep. So I hope you guys were able to participate in that. But anyhow, if I'd like to know how many of you are using. Okay, yes, Bruce, easy money, right? Yeah. So I took it off. I used to have it here on the side. I took it off. I always keep it up, and I don't initiate off of it, but I do actively monitor it. So it's probably something that if I had to put my finger on, I'm looking at once every 30 minutes, just for how the structure builds out. And if you look at today's TPO chart, and for those that don't have it, I just keep it up on the day. But when I analyze, I do look at the weekly version of this, and I also look at a 5-day, various time frames. But we have this really wide initial balance, but we never really formed the selling tail. So what I'm saying with that, and while this is a selling tail, I was looking for a much deeper. Here, let me just try to show it this way. I was looking for a much longer selling tail. That's initially what my expectation was, but it didn't materialize. And so, but that's kind of what had me second guessing, just putting on a mini trade and holding it, selling my level from the market blueprint and putting a 10 or 11 point stop on it. I didn't think it was prudent. Plus, I'm also doing some risk management in terms of in the pre-market. I took setup number 1, just as I put the market blueprint out on X, was just what I was in the trade. I took the trade soon thereafter. And I remember thinking as I saw the level and we were trading down into it, I was like, let me put the market blueprint out so that enough people can read it and participate in it. Live Action says I look at my bar chart and TPO way. The reason is I see fractal TPOs. Yeah, so I'm not sure I really fully understand that, but so there are times when I'm away from my trading PC, and I'll just look at a 30-minute, right? I'll look at a 30-minute chart and kind of like form the vision for it. All right, moving lower here. See like we're getting some extension. Let's wait for, hey, if we get that pullback now, we have that reference, right? So we have this area right here from 73.35 to 73.40 in which we can execute. Got it. Got that 73.28. So plus 60 points on that one. Heads up. Another example of using a 30-minute volume profile. For each 30-minute bar, you get more information as being risk adverse on entry. Yep. All right. So now we're coming into tricky zone, right? We're at price is selling lower, but we're coming into a lower pivot zone. I'm in I am in a market, an A4 short. I'm looking for, I'm short at E4 and looking for 29 for a 5-point fill. See if we can get it. 29. Yeah, this thing is moving out. The order flow is moving pretty good. I want to extend that out just a hair. All right, got that fill at 29. So happy about that one. Let's just zoom out now. I need to zoom out to my higher time frame and just check this, right? I need to see where we are on this one here. Oh, looks like we could be headed for that. Looks like I got to relaunch this thing. It looks like we're heading for that lower, the overnight low at 73.05. 11:15 on the clock. Price is still moving lower here. Yeah, you can see this data feed is weird. It's wonky. I'm going to have to reset this Ninja Trader. Just bear with me, hang tight. But we are moving now nice and methodically down lower. So use the structure and try to scalp those shorts if you can. We still have some time. Bears still have the clock for quite a bit. Any of you catch a piece of this short? Yeah, that's always the case, right? Easy money. All right. Looks like we get quite a bit of a retracement right here. Sorry for the delays and for the kind of the bumps in the road today. Sorry to. I think David has left us for the morning session. I think he had some audio issues with the split between the PTG room and the pit. So let me just try to reload this historical data and see if I can get a accurate reading here. Still loading out that data. Speaking of the profile chart, let's take a look at that profile chart. While this builds it out. Yeah, don't worry about it. The 18. Look, it's only 11:30, right? We've only been open 2 hours. We still got 3 hours on the day. There are going to be other opportunities. Watch for a retest up into 73.50 to 55. This is odd. You guys see that? Maybe that was a short. Yeah, I think so. Jamar, I definitely. I don't know if you guys remember. I was kind of mentioning that. You mean that was a short trap? What, down here at the low? I'm not sure I follow. Yeah, no, I think we're heading lower. I think so. Look at it. So here's what let me just. I think, and usually, it's odd for me to say this, right? Because I know you've been around for a while, and you know how bullish I'm always really bullish. Like, but I think here's a daily. Let's just take a look at the daily regular trading hours only for a little bit more of a clean look. Or we could even look at SPX, the cash market. But this is ES daily. Let's just look at cash because it'll be a cleaner chart. It doesn't have any drawings on it. So I think that I think that this is I think this is day one. Hang on, where's that pen? Let me just get my little pen tool here while Ninja Trader loads in the background. I think we have day one here. Day one, day two, and I think day three is going to bring us down here. But I think we're going to eat into this tail, if not take it out. I think I can get that. I mean, I could be wrong. Let me just go look at the real-time book and see what that says. The intraday book. See if there's any insight we can gain from there. I mean, it's tough, right? It's definitely tough. I agree. It's not. It's muddy water, right? It's definitely not a clear read, because we could also just do an inside day, right? Where we just stay in here, stay in the tail, stay in yesterday's tail, but really get no extension down lower. Let's take a look at the WAD, at the weighted AD for some insight. Oh, hang on a second, not that chart. I have a better look on it. But you know, some of the things that I was looking at, look, the weighted AD is still so. Hey, if this flips negative, then I think we take out, we test lower into yesterday's low. If this stays positive, I think we have an inside day. If we get, let's see what happens at the overnight low. We may not get there. We may not get there. We are at a time zone pivot. We've trapped bulls, liquidated them. It's going to take another tranche of selling to break us down lower. So watch that. I'm going to use this as so this price here this 15-minute high that we just put in, here's how I'm going to look at it for the afternoon. Let me get this out. Let me make sure I have the hourly up here. I still got those shorts on, but I lightened up. I'll go over that in a minute. So I think that this high here at 73.46 quarter, I'm going to use that as kind of so 73.46 quarter to 73.55, the open. this trend line, this whole band right here, I'm going to use that as a as a kind of a fulcrum for the rest of the day. So if we stay below here, if we stay below 73.46 to 73.45, and this high holds and we start to extend lower, if we get below this low and we will gain traction, we will test value area low at 72.84. But that has to happen fairly quickly. I don't think that we want to see the next 15-minute print. So 11:45 to noon, we want to see that one extend lower. If it prints in within 73.15 to 7, if we get an inside print, it's going to consolidate. We'll probably chop around, go back up, test the open, and we're not going to get that extension lower. So you can use, I'll be using 73.46. I'm going to trail down 73.55. Okay, so let's just see what account that was. Right, so I'm going to 73.55. I'm going to trail it here at 73.60. Just above, I'm going to put in a trail stop. I don't want to trail it too close, but I only have 2 left. I've got 56 points in these 2, 57. Just want to see it extend a little bit lower, but watch that 15-minute. I think it matters. Trying to get my data back. You see these big gaps that I have in the data? That you guys see this? It's tough. I'm going to use that as like a bull bear line. I'm going to make sure I get a break even stop in on this one. Or just go ahead and take the profit on it. This is terrible in that I can't see the layout. Held 27 again. Let's see. Now we're breaking lower. We are getting, but look, we're getting that I'm getting that divergence now. This thing is acting so wonky today. Wow. Yep. I'm getting bad data, bad fills here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's definitely not acting right. I mean, this Ninja Trader's everything's been pretty raw today. So you see how it's not, we're printing that inside bar again. Yep, it's held that low. So we're going to start to consolidate here at the 11 o'clock low. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I closed that one contract short I had at 37. It was short from 47. And then I'm going to go ahead and I have the 2 micros still short. Let me just reassess what I want to do with those. A part of me wants to hold them for the afternoon to see if we can get extension. Yeah, it looks like I'm coming back up here. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and hold those 2 micros. Just from a money management perspective, I think I want to try to hold them and just use the stop. All right, we're coming into 11:45, team. That's going to wrap it up for the day for me. I'm going to work on a reboot here, make sure I get the systems up and running, and make sure that double check on the trade chat. But if you got anything out of this at all, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Don't forget to follow the links in the description. Come join us in the pit. I'm going to be in here all day. I'm going to get a quick bite to eat, and then I'm going to go back on live again. Oh, okay, Nish, I'll take a look at it for sure. I'll take a look at it. I'm going to take a look at that email. I'm going to cover a few other things that I have to look at in the background, and then hopefully you guys caught a little bit of this short trade we had today. It's been a pretty good week this week. We've done really, really well. I hope you guys are tuning in, but I'll see you guys later on this afternoon. As I said, the party always continues in the pit. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We'll see y'all tomorrow.